Pop culture, comic books, action figures, movies, video games, music, to name a few. I spent 2 days at the Michigan Action Figure Expo to talk to people about collecting toys. What I quickly found out is that collecting is much bigger and more diverse than just toys. Let's delve into the void and find out why. From toys to vinyl, collecting is for all ages.
Of action figures and superheroes.
Star Wars to Marvel to DC.
DC superheroes.
I'm a music fan. I collect vinyl records.
Masters of the Universe.
He-Man and G.I. Joe.
G.I. Joe.
12-inch G.I. Joes.
G.I. Joes.
Ghostbusters and Ninja Turtles.
G1 Transformers.
Transformers.
Comics.
Collect Hello Kitty things.
Chelsea had what'd you have, Care Bears and My Little Pony.
You name it, I probably got it.
Since I was a little kid.
Back when I was 20.
Ever since I was a child.
When I was his age and I kind of stopped playing with toys, I put them all in a box somewhere and I was going to give them to my son someday, and that's what I did.
2 or 3 years. When I first saw it, it just seemed kind of childish, like, oh, Hello Kitty, but then I just thought it was really cute, and they made things in my size, so I bought a shirt one day, and that's what got me started.
Me and my dad, we really like to just buy toys together. Me and him, we call each other best buddies, and we also, we just like buying comics with each other and collecting stuff together, and it's just fun for me.
I really enjoy the hunt of trying to find a toy, trying to go store to store. That moment when you finally find that one you've been looking for, like, oh, it's this character. Oh, that's tremendous! It's such an exciting moment. It's a thrill.
Me and my dad, we really like to just buy toys together, because me and him, we call each other best buddies, and we also, we just like buying comics with each other and collecting stuff together, and it's just fun for me, because me and my sister and my mom are just at home, and it's just us.
You know, I was into a lot of the same stuff that he likes, and when I was his age and I kind of stopped playing with toys, I put them all in a box somewhere, and I was going to give them to my son someday, and that's what I did. I gave him a lot of my superhero toys, my Transformers, Legos, things like that. When he was old enough, he got all the toys that I had 30 years ago, so now it's kind of fun. You know, we'll go to a show like this, and I'll say, I had the exact same one. He'll see something that he maybe has at home that was mine. G.I. Joe was the big one, Transformers, and then a lot of the DC superpowers. That's the ones he has. Where you squeeze the legs, right, bud, and they do something, yeah. He has a lot of mine.
That's just strange that my dad had all the figures when they're on, movies and shows and stuff. DC Universe toys, like those guys. I like Legos and, and action figures a lot.
Hi, I'm Jimmy Shaw, and I'm an action figure toy collector. I've been collecting toys ever since I was a child, really. I started with He-Man and G.I. Joe and a lot of that fun stuff. kind of grew up, went off to college and everything. And as I've gotten my older age, I started collecting again. I started collecting Dragon Ball Z toys. And I really enjoy the hunt of trying to find a toy, trying to go store to store. That moment when you finally find that one you've been looking for, like, oh, it's this character. Oh, that's tremendous. It's such an exciting moment. It's a thrill, but it's also an addiction because then I need to get something else, something bigger. So it's an awful habit. I need to stop, but I can't. I have a mind for not wanting to spend too much money. I've got a wife now, and she accepts my hobbies. She would kill me under certain circumstances. I've looked at some like Marvel Universe figures right now, and some of the ones I've looked at, I'd be out in the yard sleeping if I dared to buy certain Comic-Con exclusives, for instance. But she actually encouraged me getting the paper bag head Spider-Man that I've never seen in stores. We found it at a comic shop 2 weeks ago, and I said, "Oh man, it's $45. I really want that." I forget. She called me. Well, get it, sissy, or something. She called me some kind of an insult. And then that was encouraging. I had to get that. But anything over about $45 in front of her is going to be a rough sell. But yeah, that was very exciting. I got it home and I opened it right up and put it right on the stand next to the other one on my big display. And now it sits there and looks at me as a mocking use of my $45. But it was worth it. Specifically to go look for something, I've driven as far as an hour away in any given direction. I've done a couple days where I was nothing to do, so I just drove around all day and just hit up stores here and there. I have a job, though, where I do travel a lot, and in that job I have annoyed my coworkers by like, hey, do you mind if we stop at this Toys R Us? Because I want to get a soda, and they're like, yeah, you're going to buy some toys. Like, yeah, probably, hopefully. So, yeah, I've annoyed a lot of people. I don't see him around right now, but yeah, I've annoyed a lot of people. I've driven to a toy store in Kokomo, Indiana. It's about a 3-hour drive from where I live. That has a lot of vintage stuff, a lot of cool G.I. Joes. And we get a group together to go to that every couple times a year. That place is a blast. So about 3 hours probably be the farthest for a drive, but that's a special event. I just got my first house last year, and I took all my stuff out of my parents' attic and everything, and I have all my old He-Man wrestling toys I collected. Bunch of old G.I. Joe's Thundercats, all my old junk. I never threw anything. I've always been a pack rat. Even I have like algebra notebooks from junior high, because who knows, I might need to, know the equation for a rhombus at some point. So I've always been kind of like OCD in collecting, and yeah, I do have a lot of that stuff. I've got some stuff displayed right now. I've got a weird just kind of shelf where I just have a bunch of weird random toys displayed, some older stuff, some like Popeye figures, a Britney Spears doll that somebody gave me at some point that I thought was hilarious, and some Simpsons stuff and old He-Man and kind of stuff like that. A lot of old wrestling figures, Hasbro, WWF from when I was like 10. I've got most of those, so I kind of have like a little shelf with all those on it and everything. But yeah, so good mix. Mostly newer stuff I'm kind of into at this point.
Hi, I'm Stephanie.
I'm Amanda.
I like to collect Hello Kitty things, shirts and socks, and I have a purse and, I don't know, little stuffed animals and stuff like that. First, when I first saw it, it just seemed kind of childish, like, oh, Hello Kitty, but then I just thought it was really cute, and they made things in my size, so I bought a shirt one day, and that's what got me started. I really like my purse because it's plaid, and I like plaid, and I like that it's Hello Kitty, but it's not like Hello Kitty. It's more like, oh, Hello Kitty. One of my best friends is Chinese, and so she goes to China every summer, and I really want to go with her and see all their Hello Kitty things. So it'd be really cool to get something from Asia that's Hello Kitty. I thought it was like a small group of people that just like Hello Kitty. I didn't know it was like a lot of people. I think it's really cool. 10, 15 years ago, I would have thought that was really weird that somebody had a Hello Kitty thing or something else that they were collecting. But now I like that there's a bigger community, so I have more people to talk to about it.
My name's Chris, and what I collect here, what I collect is probably not something you're going to see around here. I'm a music fan. I collect vinyl records, and I like collecting just because, A, it's a good hobby. It's a good way to support like smaller businesses, like A lot of places I buy from are like smaller record stores or like, comic shops, like comic book stores. Like good local stores are good things to support. Small business is good. I love the artwork. The artwork is definitely really cool. I collect a little bit of everything. I have a couple like newer releases on vinyl, but mostly what I go for is vintage because it's cheaper and I think it's kind of cooler because it was, it was around in the time period when the music was popular. So I think vintage is a little cooler. I wish I had something that was like autographed or like extremely rare. I can't really say that I have a lot of records that are rare, but I think Pink Floyd Dark Side of the Moon, because that's one of my favorite albums of all time. That was like one of the big finds where I was like, oh my gosh, this is in my hands right now. And I don't think the experience can be created by like buying things online the same way that I don't think, looking at action figures would be the same with a computer. Like, having them right in front of you is so much cooler than looking at it or experiencing it through a computer screen. MP3s are very compressed, and the way that the vinyl is, they're not as compressed, and you actually get more sound that's more suitable for your natural hearing than you do through a digital file. So, yeah, absolutely, it sounds much better. There might be a backlash against digital music because you're going to want people that are more traditional that want to actually hold the music and buy it and have it in front of them. I can see it growing as well, either more records being produced or like records as a collecting type of hobby. I'm sure will become more and more prominent because even if they stop producing them, they're going to get more rare. So I think either way, yeah, it's going to grow.
Brad was born in '88, and that's when they reissued the 12-inch G.I. Joe dolls. And we collected like 3 to 5 of every one, and now we collected one for each of us, and he has a complete set, I have a complete set, and we have a lot of extra ones, but these are like the MPs that KB Toys came out with, and they were an exclusive. They have their own number right here that when they came out they issued, and they even came out with a nurse trying to get some of the girls to take in like the G.I. Joes and stuff, and get the girls to come over and start collecting. And they've even gone as far as collecting ones from like famous generals. This is General Dwight Eisenhower, which is kind of nice. They have went to the collector and gotten famous people like that.
I also got a vast collection of a lot of 3 and 3/4 Star Wars, Thundercats, 6-inch figures, Marvel Legend, DC Universe, 12-inch G.I. Joe, 12-inch Lone Ranger. I got a lot.
He's my only son, so it's kind of what we have in common. We go to garage sales, different towns and all over, and flea markets. And the wife likes to go with us and look for dishes and stuff as we go looking for our action figures. And my daughter goes and she looks for Beanie Babies. So kind of it's a family thing now. And then when we go to flea markets or garage sales, we kind of look after our own thing. But it makes it fun. And it's like most people, how they go camping and do that for bonding, and that we do our picking. When you go to like Iron Man and you go to
Avengers.
Thor and Avengers, when you look around in the audience and you see senior citizens, grandmothers, grandfathers, you see children, 2 and 3 years old. I mean, it's a wide variety of age, and when we saw at the flea market, we have grandparents come up and buy stuffed animals of Iron Man or Ninja Turtle or the Hulk, and they buy for their grandchildren. They understand what their children like.
Hi, I'm Nathan Lindstrom. I live here in Battle Creek. I have a toy collection that I collect regular G1 Transformers and Masters of the Universe classics, along with comics. I believe that the collecting is no longer just playing with toys. It's It's actually kind of holding on to your childhood and making money at the same time, which is kind of nice. The best of both worlds. It started with a couple of different G1 Transformers like Optimus Prime and Ultra Magnus. And with that, I got kind of hooked. It's nice to relive my childhood through my thoughts and the memories it brought back. So I started collecting comics after that, and I just found the great love of reading them and not also keeping them from future generations like my nephew and my niece. All I ever wanted to do with collecting was to teach the next generation about how to preserve your toys and your comics so that you can share them with the next generation. It's not a taboo. It's a part of pop culture now. I mean, everybody's getting into this, and it's not just for the investments. It's just for reliving that childhood moment that you loved so much, and you want to hold on to. Where there's a little piece now that you can say, "Hey, this is part of my childhood," and I don't have to give it up. I don't have to quote unquote grow up. I can relive it every time I look at this box or look at this toy or comic. The articulation, the careful detail that they're watching, even the small stuff, the Grimlock, it comes with accessories. You will get not only the figure, which was amazing, with a lot of stuff from the actual TV show. For example, Grimlock would come with a tray and all kinds of stuff. There was an episode where he was kind of like a butler for a short while, and they incorporated those little details into the whole package, which makes it that much cooler because you're like, oh wait, I remember watching that when I was a kid. I have a rule, and we do it with everything we collect. We buy one to play with, and we buy one to set aside and collect value. So that way he can have the best of both worlds and learn how to take care of his toys as well as invest in his toys and comics.
My name's Aaron Katz. I'm from here in Battle Creek, Michigan, and we're just at this toy convention here talking about G.I. Joes and reminiscing a little bit. And it makes me think about when I was a kid. I was about 6 years old, and my brother used to wake me up, and we'd go out and watch the new G.I. Joe cartoon when it came on. And we didn't have an awful lot growing up, so I get some hand-me-down G.I. Joes, or if I worked hard, we'd mow the lawn and stuff. And Mom would take me into the store, and you'd have that 10-minute battle trying to figure out, do you want to get like the G.I. Joe, or you need a bad guy this time? You want the cool G.I. Joe, but you got to have like the Crimson Guard, the toy that was like you need like 50 of them to have the battle scene. So, growing up, that was the thing. And we get older, and you're not G.I. Joes aren't cool anymore. You get into your early 20s again, and it's like, man, I wish I still had some of these G.I. Joes. Like, it was so cool. And I was walking through the store one day, and they have this new set. It just came out, and I was living by myself. I had some money, so we bought them up, and I bought two of everything. So the plan was, I've got one of each one. I've got a big display up of all the G.I. Joes on a board, just like they are in the store. And then we're using the doubles. We're going to build a battle scene, and we're just going to go all in on this battle scene. So that's just, I can't wait to get it done. The battle scene is mostly going to consist of the newer series that came out in, I think it was 2007 when they came out. So it was 13 waves of that. It's primarily going to be the newer ones. The biggest thing now is I've got the old headquarters, and it's in the box, and I only have one of them. So I have to decide whether we're gonna break out the thing. But what we're gonna try to do is we're gonna do like different terras. We're gonna have like part of it's gonna be like the ocean, the desert, the mountains, and try to get a like an all-encompassing kind of a world so that the ones that we have all fit in. You've got the guy with the skis, he's got to be up in the mountains, with some snow. You've got the guy with like the scuba gear, he's got to be in the water, scuba diving around. We took our pool table, and we took a piece of plywood on top of it, and we took some burlap sack and stretched that over it to kind of create a base. And then we're going to use that as a starting point. And Probably what we'll do at first is kind of a basic, just on that burlap, kind of a flat, two-dimensional battle scene. But as it goes and as we get going, we're going to try to build it up. Like I said, have the mountains and things like that. With the newer ones being more, cost-effective, I can afford to buy 2 of them, so keep one in the box and then have one to get out and play with and, build a scene with. So, my wife's pregnant right now, so the fact that my daughter growing up, she's going to have access to this newer G.I. Joe stuff too is really cool. And I think the movies are great. I don't get too critical with them, but to see the characters that I grew up with as a kid, to see them on the screen it's so cool. That's what I try to remember, is that feeling as a kid of coming away with that G.I. Joe, and especially when you work so hard for it and you come home that your mom bought it for you, just that sense of pride and ownership of having it.
My name's Lacey Vogt, and this is my sister.
Chelsea Vogt.
I guess you could say I've been collecting since I was a little kid because, they were just little action figures. I loved to play with them, and then all of a sudden they could turn into display items, and my mom's been buying me Ghostbusters and Ninja Turtles since I was a little kid, and Chelsea had, Care Bears and My Little Pony and all that stuff.
I had the more girly stuff.
Yeah, I had all the,
When I was little.
I've always been a big tomboy, so I love action figures and superheroes and stuff like that.
We've always been into movies growing up because our mom is a big movie fan. So Ghostbusters was a big one, and Gremlins was a big one too.
The imaginations that's put into it, it's just so much fun. And what's even better is that these things keep coming back, and they keep getting reimagined. Like the Ninja Turtles, that's been reimagined like 4 or 5 different times. It's just so cool to me that keeps happening, and each generation can appreciate it for different reasons.
Yeah, it's good to see them evolve, as with video games too, because I'm a big Resident Evil person, and it's definitely evolved. I love the classics, and I will always love the classics, but it's kind of cool to see where it's going and how they're trying to, make it a little different, but keep the same characters and the same effect on it. It's really cool to grow up with that and have other people, grow up with it too.
For me, it's Ninja Turtles, and it's not just the toys themselves. The episodes on TV, they would teach you lessons, and I grew up with those lessons, and it got me into martial arts, and it became like a lifestyle type of thing. And so for me, it's definitely Ninja Turtles. I still have all my figures from when I was a little kid, and I can't part with them, so they're mine.
I don't honestly really have one because I don't really collect as much, but I grew up with her, and she's actually the one that's gotten me into so many of these things that, she's turned me into the nerd I am because we grew up, playing games together, watching these cartoons together. So I watch her and I go with her and, see what she collects, and it's pretty cool. She teaches me all kinds of things about everything as well. She knows so much about all these things, so she goes to the conventions, and so it's pretty cool. I don't really collect, but I get to watch her and play with her toys. We grew up playing video games together. That was basically what we did when we were little. And we went outside too. But, we grew up on Super Mario, and she was big on Zelda. Even our mom tried helping us with Zelda at one point.
When I was like 5 years old, I was playing Zelda, so.
Oh, yeah. So we grew up on all that stuff. Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat. We love all that stuff. So, and still to this day, it's really cool to see that it's sticking around.
Yeah. It's funny, I was just joking about that the other day, about how I'm seeing all these superhero shirts for sale everywhere, and I used to have to shop in the little kids aisle to be able to find superhero shirts for myself.
I remember her doing that.
They never sold them for adults, so it's really cool that it feels like everybody's catching up with my interests, and it's kind of neat that I have more people I can talk to about things, and I used to kind of be more quiet about it, and so it's really nice actually to be able to kind of fit in more with everybody else and what's going on. I'm really happy that they keep remaking all these figures and make it like the He-Mans over there. It's amazing. That's from the 80s, and they're reimagining them, and they're like little art pieces that you can display on your shelves, and it's just so cool and I hope that these people keep making more and more of these and reimagining them for people for today and for little kids.
I hope
Yeah.
that it sticks around, like Ninja Turtles, I hope it sticks around a lot longer. I mean, and with He-Man as well, it's been around for so long, and it's cool to know that kids nowadays, most kids, know about them anyways. Because
Yeah.
there's a lot of cartoons out there that are just like, what is that, you know? So it's cool that they actually have, you know, He-Man cartoons and Ninja Turtle cartoons to kind of just let you know what was around back then. It was way better in those days, and I'm glad that it's sticking around. So.
I think it's really cool. You know, 10, 15 years ago, I would have thought that was really weird that somebody had a Hello Kitty thing or something else that they were collecting. But now I like that there's a bigger community, so I have more people to talk to about it.
I find it to be really like a blessing and a curse because it's kind of cool that there's more folks that can come out. We can talk toys and discuss stuff and like, oh, have you seen this rare figure? Oh, I had this as a kid, and customizing stuff's really cool, and you can get into cool discussions and check out neat stuff. At the same time, it makes prices go up because now everybody wants what I want, so it makes it harder. There's more competition hitting up the stores. You go and look for a certain figure, and one is gone from this new series. Somebody beat you to it. That's kind of a bummer. It's kind of cool that a lot of movies and stuff are coming out. At the same time, like G.I. Joe is a good example. I loved G.I. Joe as a kid, huge G.I. Joe fan. And the first movie really wasn't like a G.I. Joe movie. It wasn't what I read in the comics. It wasn't, like the toys I had. The newer one was a little better. I thought it was a little more closer to the source material, and I get why they call the movie G.I. Joe when it's not really a G.I. Joe movie, but it's kind of cool in that sense. Comic books or comic movies are getting to be really cool and real popular, and that's kind of fun. I feel less awkward having my my Thor figure posed on my in my office, and people come in and like, oh, you have a toy, like, and I was like, oh, Thor, cool. Like, I get a little less odd looks when I have that set in my office.
It's great because I thought it was gone, and I was gonna try to kind of go back and collect some of the older stuff, but it's so expensive, and I don't want to just put it up on the wall. I want to play with it. So with the newer ones being more cost effective, I can afford to buy 2 of them, so keep one in the box and then have one to get out and play with and build a scene with.
I think more of the what mainstream society would have quoted as like the nerdy. I think that's what has become more acceptable. Not the collecting itself, but the fact that you like Marvel or, whatever like that. I think that's what's become more acceptable, not the actual collecting of things.
They should not want to just throw their toys away if they get dirty. You should keep them to give them to your children.
My name is Lacey. Do you like to keep up and discuss video games, comics, toys, movies, television, past, present, and future? If so, then join Chelsea and I as we delve into the void and explore the endless universe of entertainment.